Hello YouTube, a quick little video for you, something different this time. No work has really progressed on the 4mm Great Central layout from before, so something I've been toying with, I think I'm going to describe it as, for a little while now. Years ago I discovered this book by the wonderful Nigel Adams, who I was lucky enough to meet a few years back at Worley with one of his layouts, and he sort of introduced me to the basic concept of small space layouts, shunting layouts, little ideas you can put into small spaces in relatively small space of time as well, which is always quite handy if you're on a limited budget or just want something quick to play with on the weekend or with the kids. So after speaking to him, I got put onto a site by Carl Arndt. It's a micro layout gallery. I shall put a link to him in the description, and that also gave a wealth of ideas and inspiration for many different things, which in the end prompted me actually, I should say, to come up with this little idea, which is something I'm sure a lot of you will have seen done before, which is simply a layout in a box. Now, similar things have already been shown on YouTube by Utatelia, Dismal Dog, and most notably Jason Pierce. All of those will be also linked in the description. And this is a small layout, obviously, in a simple box file, based on the size of an A4 piece of paper, which is loosely based on the workings of the Cromford and High Peak Railway in lovely Derbyshire. As you can see, it's just a simple oval of track. At the moment we've got a Class 8 just hauling a van around, rather lumpy on the dirty track there. All the track is Kato Unitrack, it's their set track, it's the smallest radii they do. All the track work on this cost about £20, which is a little expensive for the amount of track you've got, but it was somewhat quicker and easier than sorting out a set track, which was an option available to me. When I decided against it, I wanted it to do rather quickly and well, I was about to say cheaply, but it didn't work out that way. The whole thing runs off a single control unit. This is just off a Bachmann from speed controller, they call it, from all their starter sets that acquired from years ago. And it's available for DC or DCC. So I'll now take you into this little layout and show you some of its features. Okay, so we'll start with one of the main features of this little layout. So for those of you who are already familiar with the Cromford and High Peak, you'll know that it was one of the steepest incline railways in the UK, and it was the steepest adhesion work railway, I believe, in the world. At one part it was at 1 in 14 on the gradient, so it only ran small locos and short wagon loads. A lot of it actually remained rope inclined, I think, throughout its entire existence. I'm sure someone in the comments will give us better details on that and tell me anything I've got wrong. But with this little feature here, it's built from some plasticard strip, folded and glued together, made from a couple of sections just bent around the corner. What I've actually done is the entire base board, if you want to call it that, within the box is made from mounting card. That's the orange stuff you can see. And so I've actually made it so there is a higher and lower level, and this was achieved by making a ring under the track, and in the middle, at the bottom of the wall, we've cut it out and it pressed down. So where the wall is, the ground level actually drops right away by a good 8 or 9 millimeters below the track level. So it creates this incline, which hopefully then puts the track, well, you can see it puts the track up on this wall, which is, as you would have seen in Derbyshire, where it had long, high retaining walls with the railway running up on it on these really sharp curves. So that's just one of the little things. The building in the middle there is a scratch built item I did many years ago, which has sadly been a little bit squashed, so it looks a bit off centre at the moment, but I'll get that repaired in the future. That's a little scratch build item based on what used to be the, I believe it was the stables at Matlock Bath Station, or something along those lines. I forget exactly what it was now, but that's inconsequential to this video. So we'll now take a little look at the other feature, and that is this small overbridge. So small item that I thought just adds a little bit of variety to it, something over, something under. You know, it's a bit of a cliche, model railways in a way I suppose, but it was something that I had lying around. I thought, well, you know what, it seems a shame not to, so I decided to put a little bridge on there. It's something that will be sort of buried in the scenery more than a standout lump. There'll be no sort of high retaining wall or anything daft like that around it. It'll just be sort of a small tunnel through the hillside which will be built up into that corner. One of the nice features of it is I've actually made sure that the bottom of the tunnel is lower than the track bed, which if I zoom in a little bit you'll be able to hopefully see. Like that, you see. So it makes it a bit tighter. So if I move something around it in a minute to show you, it's actually quite a tight clearance. Stop that there a moment. So it gives that more of a rural feel. That actually is based very loose on something I saw down in Cornwall many years ago as a very sharp, tight little bridge where a locomotive would only just pass through without touching the stonework. It's not completely prototypical to this particular setup with being Cromford High Peak, but it's something I thought, well, modeller's license and all that, we'll put it in there anyway, and it's just a little thing in the corner which will be mostly hidden by trees, so it's just there for my own amusement. Speaking of trees, here's a little box full I did earlier. This is a mix of kit built, scratch built and pre-built trees from various manufacturers and makers I've acquired over a period of time, and my decision has been that I'm going to use a mix of them. A lot of them are actually designed for 00, but as many of you may know, when it comes to trees, they're always under scale when you buy them. It's a little something that many people overlook, but when it comes to doing a model railway, the scenery is often done from the wrong perspective, and I'm going to demonstrate that using a ruler and some other boring bits which you can always fast forward through. Now, right, in front of you there are now 6 trees, all of them obviously different sizes. The one on the left is, I believe it's K&M, or one of theirs. If I'm wrong I'll correct it in the description, and the other 5 are kit built ones from the Wood and Scenics range, with a mix of flock and scatter and bits on them from Wood and Scenics and other sort of manufacturers like Knock, I believe, is one of them as well. Some of the material that's been used on there. Anyway, the point of this is to do with trees and the scale and size of them. When you look at them from this angle, which I believe is about what you'd see at an exhibition for looking at a tree, you go, yeah, they look okay. I'm now going to introduce an N-gauge lorry to this little scene, and they all look pretty much in scale for N-gauge, as small to larger trees. All of those trees are marketed as 00, which means they should be twice as big, because obviously 00 is twice as big as N. To make this point a bit clearer, I'm just going to move the angle of the camera so you can see from what would be normal, sort of, you know, if it was real life viewing position. And there you are. So as you can see from here, the 2 smallest trees are probably a little bit small for N-gauge actually. They're probably suited, as I say, as young trees, or would be something more in line with perhaps T-gauge even. I say the ones at the back, the forward focus, in fact we'll take those away. The 4 main ones at the back there all suit rather well for N-gauge, but would all be sold as 00 gauge trees, and you would probably find them on 00 scale layouts in that size. So that's just a little food for thought bit there, I suppose, nothing else. So make sure you've got bigger trees, everybody. In fact, in reality, we can introduce one to the back of the scene here. This tall tree at the back, which is another K&M, I believe. That's more like a 00 tree. And in fact, actually looking at that there, if it was the right type of tree, perhaps an oak tree, or some form of redwood or something like that, then that will probably get away with N-gauge as well in its own way. So just a little thought there about your trees. Anyway, back to the railway. Once the scenery is fitted to it, and there's the trees from earlier, it'll look a bit like that. So as I was saying with the little tunnel there, just quickly have a look at it closer up. The trees and the scenery will partly obscure it, so it won't be a problem. And those little trees will all sit in there around the edges, just like that. Obviously the outer edges of the box will be covered with some form of photo back scene, probably just hills and plain sky, which will cover all of the lid on the inside, so when it's opened up it's something you won't be able to see, and obviously the hole on the back there where the cable runs out at the moment for the track power would also be obscured by some greenery, you know, a hedge or something of that ilk there, a couple of small trees around it perhaps. So that's this little box file layout, small as it is. It's hopefully been not too boring to watch, and now I'll leave you with a few shots of it running and just sort of say thank you very much and bye for now.